Okay, Joseph, this is a walkthrough on this job. I have this figured out here. So just to give you a view of the deck again here, that's it. We are about 26 feet from here to here. That's including uplap and overlap. So let's go through the details of what's going to happen from this wall here to this right here. You're about 5 feet, so you can come up there, you're 4 or 5 inches, and you can come down this wall 4 or 5 inches. And I think the most intelligent way to do this is to use this line of this opening here as the layout for the piece of Duradek, and I take one 27 foot piece, go from this wall straight down there, lay it. I would situate it so you're lined up with this wall. This deck kind of goes in a pie shape, so it's not even, so you're gonna have to find a place to kind of lay the line, and to me it's logical to use this as probably the layout line right here, but you need to come down 5 or 6 inches to have some overlap with this piece of material here. So what I'm thinking is you put in one straight piece here, you lap up the wall here, you come over here, that covers us from end to end. You're gonna have to figure out the detail, and let me tell you the idea, by the way, for this layout. So you put the one big piece here, right? Then we have this piece kind of comes across here, this little section right here. What you'll do is cut a piece that just covers this section right here and probably comes all the way down the wall here. So if you put this lower deck in and you come up the standard, I'm going to call it 4 or 5, 6 inches on this side, 4 or 5, 6 inches this side, but on this wall here you run the piece longer, so it basically comes up almost to the top right here. So make this piece longer as it comes up. Then when this piece folds over the 4 or 5 inches, you'll heat weld it here and it will counter flash this, and all of this will work fine. And then on this wall here, since you're only going to do the width to come up to maybe here, something like that, and the width over here to come up over here, this piece can come all the way down basically to the floor. And then when you do your next long piece, this piece here will come all the way down to the ground and go all the way out. Interesting details here. We have a bunch of stuff that just isn't done as well as it could be here. You're going to have to bring your hammer, pull out some of these nails here to have a surface to come up. You have some larger openings back here, and I don't know if it's just easier to put in a piece of flashing back here or to mud this and make it even. The blocking was done nicely. You've got some open areas here. This is kind of an interesting detail. You're gonna have to give some thought as to how this gets filled in. These are all bolts that need to be filled in and mudded. So you put Ardex in there so that surface ends up being completely flat. And the idea is we were gonna bring the Duradek over this stucco edge over the outside and put the L trim secured to the stucco in here. We're gonna have to use like a masonry screw or pre-drill it and use a wood screw, if that makes sense. So a longer pre-drill it carefully and then have a wood screw, and it'll end up hitting this wood blocking. Same detail on the front. We're going to put the L trim across the front once we come up over this curb. And I am taking a look at here. I would kind of work this detail with the window just the way you would work it if this were kind of a door threshold. Kind of come up and over into the door and do the saddles on the right and left side. Over here, you've got a little bit of a gap to deal with here. I don't know if it's easier to put flashing or just fill it with mud and call it done. This is a pretty standard little setup in here, coming in the door. The only place you have to kind of figure out how we're going to do the waterproofing properly is the overflow over here, but we're going to have to figure out how we're going to detail around that. So that's a quick look what's coming in here. So I think if you come in here, give this thing an aggressive sanding to get rid of lumps and bumps, and take the edging sander real quick, then get this thing mudded out. you should definitely be able to get, the two primary pieces set, the same day here. The only part is the thickness of the mud on the back corners, but even so, that doesn't need to get secured instantly. So if you can get the two primary pieces in, then you can start working on the smaller deck. But anyway, that's the quick layout over here. I hope this makes sense. So again, from end to end, it's about 26 feet, including the uplap. The width from this wall to here is about 5 feet, so this can be the first strip that comes down, and you can see that the deck is somewhat pie-shaped. It kind of comes in at an angle like this, and I'm figuring when you run your first piece of Duradek, I'm just trying to think if there's a more logical way to do it, is you can follow this line and or the seam line probably over, just kind of follow it parallel over a few feet, or maybe actually make the seam line exactly where this is, so it kind of lines up with this, but that's not going to work with the material overlapping over here. You'll have to give it some thought and think about, how that layout works out. Okay, and that's a door here, and that's a window opening over here. You're going to have to bring your screw gun, hammer. Oh, the other detail, over here, what we're going to do is we've got this nasty wall here that's got kind of tar on it, and it's not very pretty looking over here. I have a thought, and it goes something like this, to either take a piece of Duradek and actually put it onto this wall first and have it come down onto the curb, and then our real piece come up and over and come up, and we secure it with L-trim up top. It's kind of lumpy looking. I'm thinking you might take some Ardex and smooth it out a little bit. I don't know how well it's going to stay, but that's another approach to kind of even out this wall. And the only other approach I have is to have them come in and put some cement board or something on here. So that's a detail we're going to have to think about and work out. This, by the way, from this wall over is not our property, it's the neighbors, so we don't want to do anything that looks clunky, kludgy, all that kind of stuff. And while all this has to be waterproofed, we need to figure out how we're going to waterproof the top of this. In an ideal world, I think we'd either want to put the metal L-trim on the top here, or up here. I somehow would rather, if we kept it over here, they're not going to see it. If we put it up here, it might bother them a little bit. So we're going to have to take a look at, how that gets detailed in there. Okay, so that's a quick look at what's going on here. Thanks. Bye-bye. And by the way, we're putting in the railing system here. It's going to be about 4.5, 5 feet high, and it will go in right against this, on top of this curb over here. Okay? Thanks. Bye-bye.